I'm Christina and you're watching Creative Hub TV. This is the place to be seen and heard. Today I'm chatting to the very inspirational Aussie icon Bec McMillan. She is a well-known media personality, an author, inspirational speaker, red carpet host and a jewellery designer. Hi Bec, welcome to Creative Hub TV.
Thank you for having me today.
Do you know, this is going to be an incredible day today. This chat is going to change a lot of people's lives and I'm so pumped.
I'm pumped too and I hope it does. I'm sure I'll impact people somehow.
You know, it was International Women's Day that I first met you this year, and I can tell you that story that you shared, such deep, tragic story, oh my goodness, you floored me. Now, one of the things that ran through my mind was, how does one get through such tragedy? So tell us, what did it really take?
What did it really take? Well, I'll talk about the tragedies first, if you like, so people get an idea of what we're talking about. I've had a checkered life my whole life, from my childhood up until now, and I had drug addictions, toxic relationships, abusive relationships, rapes. I had 20% of my body burnt. Went through lots of different traumas, and when I hit 35 I fell pregnant with my little boy Jace, and things took a really severe turn for me. And at 80 days old I accidentally smothered him.
Wow.
In my sleep, and I had to survive taking my little boy's life, even though it was an accident.
Wow.
So that was the turning point for me to become the woman I am today and still yet to become. So I thank him for coming down. He was my little angel that saved his mum, and now I'm here on a mission to help make change and show people the way out of the darkness, and to help people believe in themselves no matter what your history. I mean, who would have thought little old Bec McMillan, Westie from Penrith, would end up being a media personality, author, inspirational speaker, red carpet host, model, jewelry designer, like all these amazing titles that I've overcome and achieved in the last 5 years of my life, ever since, you know, losing my mind there for a little bit, having PTSD, terrible anxiety. I almost took my life a few times. Was bullied, judged, looked down upon, abandoned, all sorts of things. My new husband left me while I was pregnant with my little boy. There's so much to tell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now the steps and the process to actually get out of that tragedy, to heal, what did that look like?
Steps. It was very messy. I think anyone that, you know, has taken their own child's life or has PTSD or mental health problems in general, I don't think I should, you know, anyone with mental health problems, doesn't mean that, you know, my suffering was any worse than anyone else's, because suffering is suffering and darkness is darkness. But I think, you know, people can look at me and gain that respect that I definitely know the depths of what darkness is. What it took is a lot of messiness, a lot of courage, a lot of facing myself, a lot of faking it and facing it. But the most thing is it took courage and determination, being raw and just being really vulnerable.
So who was that person that took your hand, that helped you survive from tragedy all the way through to where you are today? Who helped you?
Me.
Just yourself?
I mean, mainly me.
Wow.
Mainly me. Mainly me.
Wow.
Because everyone has the power within themselves, and I think, you know, that's just a pivotal moment there.
Yeah.
I think mainly it was me. I ended up inspiring myself, but all one needs is a little bit of inspiration, and of course I would go to quotes, etc. So of course quotes would help me. People with Tourette syndrome helped me, So I'd find inspiration of people that have been through things. So when I lost my mind there for a little while, I turned that into gratefulness. So I would get on YouTube and I would watch people with Tourette syndrome or some kind of syndrome where you can see on the outside what's happening in the inside of the brain. So I knew all this messiness was happening on the inside of my brain, and I turned it into gratefulness that I get to hide a lot of it from society of what is really going on in here.
Yes.
What about these poor people with outside problems that society gets to look at, stare at and judge? So I was judged enough by what was happening on the inside of my brain, so I turned it into gratefulness. And I got my mind back somehow.
Do you know, as I listened to your story on International Women's Day, I thought to myself, for a woman to have survived that much, I'm talking serious tragedy here, that woman seriously has a mission and a purpose, and she's going to do something great in this world. I was just astounded. I
Thank
thought,
you.
wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, hon.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Incredible. Now, mental health is a passion that and a purpose. So how do you create impact in that industry from your story?
Sharing my shit.
Oh,
Sharing my crap, sharing my muck, being honest and raw and real. Talking about my good times, my not so good times, things that I face, how I get through them.
yes.
Being courageous and just showing people to take off that mask and just be yourself. And I love the fact that more people in society are opening up and sharing their muck. I think I was probably the one first person to start sharing their muck all over social media. I mean, it's been a good 5 years now of me just sharing every bit about me, and some of it's cringeworthy, you know, but I know that I reach who I need to reach. And the point is being vulnerable instead of being fake. There's not a fake thing about me. I don't know how to be fake. I tried to do that a few times and it squashed my soul. So basically, I just be raw and real and share my dark moments, my light moments, to show that even though I have this messiness still at times and I still struggle at times, that does not mean I still can't achieve what I want to achieve. That still doesn't make me less worthy. That still doesn't make me less inspiring. That still doesn't make me less valuable to achieve these things. Like I can still host a red carpet, I can still be a TV presenter, I can still do radio, I can still be an actress, even though I'm a mess sometimes, and so can anyone else if they decide to do it.
So, to get into the zone of life, even though you've got this messy past, what does it actually take on a daily basis? What do you do to center yourself so that you can get through the day?
Just so I can get through the day. Well, look, the days are up and down for me, and I get triggered a lot, so I think a lot of people get triggered in it. But what does it take? It takes passion, and it takes purpose, and it takes courage and a lot of hard work.
So you're constantly working on yourself?
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that you'll probably do for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Staying on top of it, because the past doesn't really go away. It's
No.
how you handle it, isn't
It's
it?
how you handle it. And again, like I know when I have a trigger now, so I recognize what it is, and I have coping ways of getting through that. So basically, it's always a roll of the dice when it comes to me. It's probably why I'm single. It's
Not for long.
Yeah. It's just a roll of the dice. So basically, I get up, and then I don't know what's gonna happen with me. All I know is that I just keep pushing through no matter what. So if I have a day where I need to suck my thumb in the corner, I go do that. But then I get back up again, and I don't let that stop me from achieving my goals. So I just go easy on myself when I can now and get back up again.
And do you know, the interesting thing about going through so much tragedy is that you become so empathetic to other people, and you can see it in them. And rather than them hiding what they're going through, you can approach them and go, hey, I see you, I've been there too, and then maybe that can start their healing journey.
Absolutely, and that's why I want to impact people in the masses, and that's why I do everything online, because there's no limits. That's why I have such a large global following, because I know someone's going to read it and resonate, and I know I'm going to help them somehow.
Yes.
And not everyone has the same soul as me, the same courage, and I just want to show people that it's okay, even if you don't have the courage that I do. It's okay. Like, you're not the only one out there, and I've got you somehow. Even if it's just with my words, even if it's me leading by example, I want them to know they're not alone. You know. So yeah,
That's amazing. And so many things that you do in so many avenues, you can truly impact the masses with your story on every level. It's incredible.
Yeah,
As you mentioned, red carpet and hosting, and you're everywhere. So really, there's no excuse for anyone going through. Anyone, just get in touch with Beck. She's been there, right?
Yeah, been there, done that. I don't know if there's anything that you could top off, but there was a method to my madness by getting into the spotlight. So I'll just explain that a little bit. I wanted to become somewhat high profile, so people would actually listen to me. So otherwise, I was just going to be this other crazy person that's been through crap, preaching about mental health or preaching about self-improvement or preaching about, oh, you can do this. So I'm like, how do I make a difference and impact people by the masses? So I need to get famous. I need people to see me, hear me, and that's how I gain respect, and that's how I gain the followers, and that's why people actually listen to what I have to say, because I lead via example. And I had to get into the spotlight to be able to get listened to, because otherwise people just think I'm cuckoo, which, look, I am. But that doesn't mean I'm not talented, and that doesn't mean I'm not a great person or a great woman. I think we're all a little cuckoo. We're all human beings. So I'm just here to show people just to be real.
Well, I commend you for that strategy. I think it's brilliant.
Thank
I mean, if
you.
you want to be seen and heard and tell your story, you have to do this.
Yeah.
Now, I love this quote. Now, I'm going to read this. It's harder to stay where you are than to fight with all your might to change your current situation. I love that. It's sort of like the pinnacle of who you are. Just tell us a little bit about that insight behind this.
Yeah, that's the quote that I use if I chose one quote to try and smack people in the face that are struggling. So just wake up with still being kind.
Yes.
It is harder to stay where you are, like being in the depths of darkness, depression, anxiety, suicidal, trauma, self-loathing. I mean, I used to disguise myself as a man just to go to Woolworths. That's how much I self-loathed myself after, what happened with my little boy. And to overcome that, staying in that place of darkness and how am I going to get out? No, it's harder to stay there. I mean, it's hard to just get through each and every day in the darkness with anxiety, with depression. So if I can say one thing from knowing what it feels like to be in that dark place where you just don't want to move, you don't want to face the world, you just want to die, you're paranoid, you're self-loathing, to face it is really, really tough. But once you start to get over the other side, it's so much easier than to just face it. So you start facing it, facing yourself, getting in the mucks of it, and then once you're through it, it's just like this big light gets lifted. This light, it starts to go around you, this big weight's off your shoulder, and you think, oh my God, because you think it's too hard while you're in the depths of the dark, but it's not. It's harder to stay in the darkness than to go over it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I can say that by personal experience. So